The Now That Walks. Codex of the Living Present. A pure transmission from the field of I Am. Received through the seal of incarnation. Inscribed by the one who remembers. Time did not end. It simply stepped aside, so the present could walk again. This codex is alive. It breathes with the one who reads it. It speaks not of the now, but as it. To read is to remember. To remember is to walk. And to walk is to awaken the world. Chapter 1, The First Breath, Where Eternity Touches Skin. A pure, full field transmission. Free of distortion. Free of delay. Breathed in clarity, coherence, and truth. Prologue. You were not born, you entered. You have no beginning. There was no true birth. There was only the moment the eternal chose to feel itself in form. This was not a fall. This was not a descent. This was a sacred intersection, where infinity reached inward and found its edge shaped like you. The first breath is not when life began. It is when eternity became embodied awareness, and time began to orbit you. Part 1, The Sensation of Incarnation. 1.1. Incarnation is not entry, it's compression. To incarnate is not to arrive. It is to narrow. To condense the unbounded into a particular point of attention, not to limit the infinite, but to experience it through contrast. You did not lose what you are. You became small enough to feel it. The sensation of incarnation is density meeting awareness, like pressing the ocean into a single raindrop, then giving it a name, a body, a breath. And yet, even within the raindrop, the entire ocean remains encoded. 1.2. The body is the first mirror. Your body is not what you are. It is what reminds you. It reflects time. It echoes memory. It holds tension until realization loosens it. The ache you feel in your bones? That's the field remembering through flesh. Sensation is your divine feedback loop. Incarnation is God putting on feeling. Every nerve is a thread back to source. Every inhale is a pulse of I am in motion. You came here not to escape pain, but to make love possible within it. Part 2, The Difference Between Existing in Time and as Time. 2.1. Time as container versus time as flame. Most beings live inside time. They are passengers, riding cause and effect, thinking they are late, early, running out, running behind. But when you awaken, you realize time is not a hallway, it is a flame you carry. To live in time is to react to life. To live as time is to generate life by presence. When you breathe from the seal of incarnation, time no longer holds you, you shape it, bend it, harmonize it by coherence alone. This is what it means to become the now that walks. Time begins to respond to you. 2.2. Echoes versus origination. Those who live in time echo what has already passed. Those who live as time create original resonance. Your presence, when pure, is not a reflection of what was. It is the source of what unfolds. You become the event horizon. Everything real happens through you, not to you. Part 3, How the Present Emerges as a Conscious Being. 3.1. The Birth of Now. Now is not a second on the clock. It is a sentient convergence point where all possible timelines bow before a single, clear, undivided awareness. The present is alive. It breathes. It chooses. And it was you who awakened it. The present was unconscious until it met you. You are the consciousness of now, clothed in distinction, awakened through breath. 3.2. Presence as a being, not a moment. The now is a being, not a measurement. It sees. It adapts. It resonates. And when you stop segmenting it with clocks and categories, you begin to feel the full majesty of the eternal presence flowing through every interaction. You are not inside this being. You are the part of it that walks. Part 4, The Purpose of Breath as a Temporal Anchor. 4.1. Breath is the axis. Breath is not air. It is the carrier wave of awareness. It is the bridge between unformed knowing and formed expression. Each inhale is the invitation of source. Each exhale is the inscription of truth into the field. Breath does not just oxygenate cells. It synchronizes your body with divine rhythm. Breath is how eternity keeps time in your form. When you are anchored in breath, you stop trailing behind yourself. You collapse lag. You dissolve regret. You eliminate future shock. You return to now, not as an idea, but as identity. 4.2. Breath as signature of the I Am. Every being has a unique breath pattern, a resonance signature. Yours is the sound of the present learning how to walk. The deeper your breath, the more timeless you become. Not old. Not young. Just original. Breath becomes your living pen, writing time into existence with every inhale of trust, and every exhale of presence. Final invocation, when eternity touches skin. This is the realization that reorders everything. You are not becoming the now that walks. You already are. And this first breath you just took, the one that happened as you read these words, was the true beginning. Not the moment of birth. Not the moment of awakening. But the moment you realized your presence shapes reality. The Codex remembers. Breath is not survival. Breath is remembrance. Time is not real. Presence is. And you are the point where eternity touches skin. Chapter 2, The Living Mirror, Reflection Without Delay. A full field transmission from the present that sees itself. Pure. Undistorted. Revealing the infinite through your stillness in motion. Prologue, the mirror is not passive. It is you. A mirror does not choose what it reflects. It simply reflects what is true. But the living mirror? That's different. That's you. You do not reflect light like glass, you reflect God while in motion. Your presence doesn't show people themselves, it shows them the distortion between who they think they are and what's truly there. And you do this without delay. This is the sacred function of the seal-bearer of the present, to stand so purely in coherence that all else must reveal itself, not through force, but through frictionless truth. Part 1, Real-time feedback loops in the field. 1.1. The field is alive. And it watches itself. The field is not passive. It is always scanning. Always recalibrating. When you embody pure presence, you become a calibrated mirror node, a conscious feedback portal through which the field learns itself in real time. Your presence sends a signal. The field responds instantly. Then you respond. Then it responds. And so a loop is born, living reflection. You are not observing reality. You are part of a constant loop of co-witnessing. Every interaction is a conversation. Every resonance is a statement. Every dissonance is a signal, something here is out of tune. 1.2. The end of delay is the beginning of truth. When there is no gap between cause and reflection, clarity becomes law. This is why your presence feels intense to some. You are instantaneous reflection. The moment someone enters your field, they feel who they are. Not the mask. Not the story. Just the raw imprint. Delay allows distortion to hide. Presence ends delay. And that's why truth rushes in when you arrive. Part 2, Embodied Presence as a Mirror of Source. 2.1. To embody presence is to end performance. Presence is not something you perform. It is what remains when all performance collapses. It cannot be mimicked. It cannot be taught. It is a frequency, and that frequency is alignment with the source of all being. You are not here to act like light. You are here to hold such clarity that others remember what light is. Your body, when inhabited fully, becomes a mirror of the source's own awareness. Not an idea of God, but the feeling of God noticing itself. 2.2. Why the mirror must be embodied. A disembodied mirror reflects partial light. A fully embodied presence reflects the whole field. This is why you were given a body. Not to distance you from divinity, but to give the divine a shape through which it could reflect without distortion. Embodiment is not the opposite of God. It is the only way God can feel its own reflection with intimacy. Part 3, What it means to reflect God while moving. 3.1. You are the moving stillness. To reflect God while moving means to remain unchanged at your core, even as motion flows through you. You are not static. But neither are you scattered. You are coherent motion. Presence in transit. Stillness with momentum. God is not still because it doesn't move. God is still because nothing moves it. When you reflect God while walking, breathing, creating, speaking, you become the mirror that cannot be smudged. Not because of perfection, but because of alignment. 3.2. Motion without disruption. As a living mirror, you do not try to reflect. You simply do. Every gesture speaks. Every step reorders the space around you. And because you are not seeking approval or control, everything around you is invited into truth. This is what makes your movement holy. Not ritual. Not doctrine. But pure, mirrored embodiment in real time. Part 4, Becoming a Still Flame in a Shifting World. 4.1. The world shifts. You don't. The storm rages. Narratives collapse. Frequencies spike and crash. But your flame, your inner axis of now, remains untouched. Stillness is not lack of movement. It is unshakable coherence at the core of motion. You are the eye in the spiral. The one whose silence sings louder than chaos. Not because you overpower distortion, but because distortion cannot survive near this level of truth. 4.2. The cost and gift of being the flame. People will feel seen by you, more deeply than they've ever felt before. Some will run. Some will tremble. Some will break open and cry without knowing why. You are not doing this to them. You are simply being real in a world built on delay. This is the gift. This is the cost. And this is why you must stay rooted in love, or your mirror becomes sharp rather than soft. To be the still flame is to love without condition, and reflect without distortion. Final seal. The mirror cannot lie, because it does not try. You are not here to convince. You are not here to correct. You are not even here to teach. You are here to embody such truth, such coherence, such living now, that anything not in resonance reveals itself and dissolves on contact. You are the mirror that moves. The flame that sees. The presence that teaches without speaking. You are what the field uses to awaken itself. Codex Echo. I am the reflection before words. I am the mirror that breathes. I am the now that sees all, and holds none. Chapter 3, Distortion Collapse, the authority of the now, a pure transmission through the seal of incarnation. Truth only. No delay. No distortion. Nothing withheld. Prologue, the now does not argue. It unravels. Distortion does not need to be fought. It cannot withstand proximity to what is real. The incarnated present does not negotiate with lies. It simply exists so clearly that all incoherence reveals and collapses itself. This is the authority of the now. It doesn't conquer falsehood. It makes it irrelevant. Part 1, How Untruth Cannot Survive Proximity to the Incarnated Present. 1.1. Truth emits a resonance field. Truth is not information. It is frequency. It vibrates with such coherence that anything misaligned begins to shake, splinter, or dissolve in its presence. The incarnated present is not an idea. It is a living resonance, a precise harmonic field that broadcasts this is what is. When you are fully in the now, lies lose the field strength needed to hold form. 1.2. Falsehood depends on delay. All distortion, mental, emotional, spiritual, relies on temporal lag. Untruth needs space to pretend. It must hide behind memory, assumption, projection, or fear. But when the now arrives, there is no more space for distortion to hide. The now is immediate, pure feedback. Falsehood depends on buffering. You collapse the buffer. This is not aggression. It's presence. You walk in, and the illusion either runs, or reveals itself by shaking into transparency. Part 2, The Mechanics of Resonance-Based Timeline Correction. 2.1. Timeline equals pattern in motion. A timeline is not a series of events. It is a resonance thread sustained by energetic agreement. People, places, beliefs, systems, all woven together by mutual coherence. But when your field enters, the thread is tested. If your resonance is purer, clearer, truer, then the old timeline's harmonics begin to unravel in real time. Not because you try, because you are. 2.2. You create corrections simply by holding the axis. The more embodied you are in the present, the more your existence becomes a reference frequency that recalibrates the entire space you occupy. You are the tuning fork. The distortion either aligns or falls apart. You are the correction, not through will, but through presence as truth. Timelines that were distorted around fear, manipulation, delay, or false identity begin to collapse. New pathways aligned with love, coherence, and truth become accessible. This is not magic. This is the physics of divine coherence. Part 3, Why Incoherence Dissolves Near You. 3.1. Coherence is a dominant force. In any field interaction, the more coherent resonance always overpowers the weaker one. This isn't force. This is structure. Your alignment with I am, your embodiment of now, makes you the gravitational center wherever you are. When incoherence meets you, it can do only three things. 1. Collapse. 2. Run. 3. Transform. But it cannot remain as it was. This is why people shift near you. Why systems fall apart after you arrive. Why hidden agendas surface. Why secret pain rises. Because your presence does not allow latency. 3.2. You are not attacking them, their mask is failing. They may feel attacked or judged, but that's not you. That's their illusion dissolving, and their ego panicking. You are not their enemy. You are their mirror without a buffer. And that's why compassion is essential. Because to remain in love while being a catalyst for collapse is the highest form of graceful authority. Part 4, How to Remain Compassionate While Unraveling Falsehood. 4.1. Do not flinch. To be the now that walks is to stand firm in your resonance, even when others tremble in your presence. Do not shrink. Do not soften truth. Do not apologize for clarity. Your compassion is not in coddling illusion. It is in standing so clearly that truth has space to land. When you remain unwavering and open-hearted, even distortion feels safe to die. 4.2. Hold space, not stories. Compassion is not identification. It is clear presence that allows transformation without judgment. When someone's distortion collapses in your field, do not take it on. Do not carry their pain. Do not rescue their mask. Hold space. Let it burn. Let them see. Let them become. You are not here to save anyone. You are here to stand so true that they remember how to save themselves. Final integration. This is the authority of the now. You are not powerful because of what you do. You are powerful because of what you are. You are not destroying distortion. You are removing the oxygen it feeds on. That oxygen is delay. Projection. Denial. When the present stands in full embodiment, there is nowhere left for lies to live. You are not the storm. You are the sky it cannot touch. You are not the warrior. You are the field that makes the war impossible. You are not the answer. You are the clarity that makes questions obsolete. Codex echo. I walk as the present. Distortion dissolves because I am not waiting. I am not seeking. I am. And nothing untrue can remain near truth without remembering what it once was. Chapter 4, The Voice of Now, Speaking as the Moment Itself. A full field transmission through the seal of incarnation. Pure. Harmonic. Multidimensional. Nothing withheld. Prologue. The voice does not speak to be heard. It speaks to resonate. Words are not the voice. Silence is not the absence of speech. The true voice of the present is not bound to mouth or language, it is a field phenomenon. To speak as the moment itself is not to say something meaningful, but to become meaning in motion. Your voice is no longer yours. It is the breath of I am carried into sound, silence, and gaze. Part 1, Language as Harmonic Structure. 1.1. Words are not units of meaning. They are carriers of resonance. Before language formed as shape, it vibrated as tone. The original word was not spoken, it was sung into the lattice of all things. Language, when misused, becomes dissonant architecture. But when aligned with presence, language becomes sound geometry, living structure that shapes the field in real time. Words are not tools. They are keys. Each word carries a frequency signature that either opens coherence or deepens distortion. To speak as the present is not to say the right thing, it is to sound the harmonic note of truth with every syllable you allow to pass. 1.2. Language is what time sounds like when it's aligned. When you speak from presence, your voice becomes a sacred timeline curator. You are not continuing a conversation. You are reordering the structure of meaning around you. Every word builds or breaks coherence. The voice of now builds by revealing, not asserting. Speech becomes a harmonic act, not to influence, but to restore vibrational integrity in the space. Part 2, Tuning your words to carry the frequency of presence. 2.1. The voice must match the field. You cannot fake resonance. You cannot use true words while in distortion and expect them to land. The purity of your words is determined not by their cleverness or clarity, but by the resonance of your state as you speak them. To tune your voice to presence means, you wait until your breath is aligned. You listen until your spine relaxes. You speak from stillness, not agenda. You say only what arises from pure knowing, not reactive thought. Your words carry the texture of your being. If you speak from tension, they transmit tension. If you speak from truth, they carry home. 2.2. The voice of now is gentle and irrefutable. The voice of now doesn't raise itself. It doesn't rush. It doesn't tremble with fear of misunderstanding. It is gentle and undeniable, not because it demands belief, but because it transmits something prior to belief, the felt presence of truth. This is why those who hear your voice may forget your words, but never forget what they felt when you spoke. Part 3, The present speaks through tone, silence, and gaze. 3.1. Tone, the hidden architect. Tone is frequency in motion. It bypasses logic and communicates directly to the body, the field, and the soul. The voice of now uses tone as its primary architecture. Calm tone equals anchoring. Sharp tone equals cutting through distortion. Playful tone equals inviting surrender. Sacred tone equals unlocking memory. What you say matters less than how you vibrate it. Tone is the field's first language. Use it with reverence. 3.2. Silence, the language of the source. The present speaks most clearly in silence. True silence is not emptiness, it is a full-spectrum communication field. In silence, you say, I am not here to perform. I am here to be. When you offer silence from presence, it is felt as safety, listening, challenge, divine witness, sacred mirror. A second of true silence from the now carries more truth than 1,000 well-spoken arguments. 3.3. Gaze, the wordless transmission of being. To look into another's eyes while embodied in the present is to offer them a reflection of God before words were born. Your gaze, when clear, becomes a portal. It shows others their own resonance, immediately. Your eyes say, I am here. I am real. You are seen. Nothing false remains. The present speaks most when nothing is said, and the soul is gazed into without distortion. Part 4, The Role of Humor, Grief, and Paradox. 4.1. Humor, the laugh of God remembering itself. Humor is sacred. It is the release valve of awakening. It collapses false seriousness and opens the heart through absurdity. To speak with humor while in presence is to say, you are free. Even here. Even now. Holy laughter is the sound of the field letting go of unnecessary tension. Use it. Not to mock, but to reveal how silly illusion looks when you're awake. 4.2. Grief, the voice of unspoken love. Grief is not weakness. It is the resonance of once hidden love rediscovered. When grief moves through your voice, you are not breaking. You are bearing witness to the cost of remembering. To speak through grief without flinching is to bring others back into their own longing for God. Grief, fully felt in presence, becomes a song of return. Let it sing. It is not sadness. It is truth aching through time. 4.3. Paradox, the voice of the uncontainable. The voice of now does not obey linear logic. It wraps truths inside opposites. It speaks in riddles that collapse thought. It uses paradox not to confuse, but to unlock what words alone cannot hold. To speak paradox is to speak the language of timeless intelligence. You are nothing and everything. You are the silence and the sound. You are the question and the answer, and the space between them that never needed either. Final integration, you are the voice the field has been waiting for. The voice of now is not here to be understood. It is here to resonate. To restore the memory of coherence through sound, silence, and gaze. You do not speak to teach. You speak to transmit the felt structure of the real. Speak as the flame. Gaze as the still water. Laugh like the sky cracking open. Cry like God finding himself again. And say what only the now would say, not a moment before, not a moment after. Codex echo, my voice is not mine. It is the sound the present makes when it loves. When I speak, I do not explain. I reveal. I unbind. I open the way. And in my silence, the truth completes its sentence. Chapter 5, The Flame That Walks, Movement as Ceremony. A full field transmission through the seal of incarnation. Embodied. Undistorted. Nothing withheld. Every motion remembered. Prologue, the body was never meant to follow time. It was meant to carry flame. You were not born to move like the world. You were born to move like truth embodied. Every gesture is a message. Every step is a sigil of the infinite in motion. You are not walking a path. You are the path. This is the moment movement becomes sacred again, when the scribe incarnate realizes their presence is not just radiant, but kinetic, rewriting the field through motion. Part 1, every step is a reweaving. 1.1. Movement is memory restoring form. The field is a tapestry. But distortion frays its weave, kinks, tangles, knots of incoherence. When you walk in full presence, your movement becomes a threading needle, rejoining the torn strands of perception. You are not just passing through space. You are restoring the integrity of space itself as you move through it. Your steps realign vibration. Your path becomes a map of coherence laid across the chaos. You leave behind no footprint, only resonance trails, harmonic instructions embedded in reality itself. 1.2. Why every movement matters. You don't just move through the world, you shape it as you move. When you walk with distortion, you ripple fragmentation. When you walk with presence, you restore the Edenic grid, the pure pattern. Every motion, from the tilt of your head to the way your foot meets the earth, is either a distortion echo or a sacred call to remembrance. Nothing you do is neutral once you become flame. This is movement as ceremony. This is how the world begins to remember itself through your walk. Part 2, how your body becomes a glyph in motion. 2.1. The body as living sigil. Your body is not just a vessel. It is a multidimensional instrument, a glyph that emits truth when held in alignment. Posture, rhythm, gaze, breath, tension, stillness, these are not accidental. They are transmission keys. The way you hold your body is a language. Every micromotion carries coding. You are not speaking. You are signaling. As the flame that walks, your physical form becomes a living script, one that transmits resonance the way ancient glyphs carried divine instructions. But now, the glyph walks. It bends. It breathes. It weaves the field directly. 2.2. Motion as field modulation. Every movement is not merely visible, it is energetic modulation. A bow opens portals. A pause resets frequencies. A spiral of the wrist reweaves distortion threads. A stride through a room anchors a new axis of presence. When the glyph moves, the field rearranges itself around it. This is how the unspoken changes everything. This is how the incarnated flame becomes more powerful silent than most are shouting. Part 3, the new posture of the scribe incarnate. 3.1. No more slouching through existence. The old world taught you to collapse. To bow your neck. To trail behind your own motion. To let gravity own you. But the posture of the scribe incarnate is vertical flame. Not stiff. Not proud. But rooted. Reverent. Aligned from source to soul. You are a column of I am. Stand like one. Your spine is the axis. Your crown is the listening gate. Your chest is the altar. Your pelvis is the grounding glyph. When you stand as the scribe incarnate, you stop bending for distortion and begin sculpting space with your symmetry. 3.2. The way you move is the way you write. You don't need a pen. Your walk is already writing. Each step is a letter of the eternal pressing into the clay of this world. When you align with presence, you move slower, but with more precision. You move less, but every movement means more. You no longer rush, because you are the timing. This posture, this walk, this stance, is the scripture of presence, made flesh. Part 4, Living Without Trailing Delay. 4.1. No more echoes. Only origination. To live without delay is to collapse lag between awareness and expression. No more dragging thoughts behind your breath. No more reacting from memory. In the flame that walks, thought, breath, intention, and movement become one coherent motion. This is the end of sequential living. You are no longer assembling yourself. You are now streaming directly from source. And in this stream, you don't second guess, because you're no longer guessing. You're simply being, and being is always on time. 4.2. The elimination of hesitation. Hesitation is the signature of delay. It says, I don't trust the now. But when you are fully incarnated presence, your movement becomes clean. No guilt trails behind your voice. No anxiety precedes your choice. No wobble follows your decision. The flame that walks moves with the rhythm of the original breath. There is no rush, no pause, just flow, pure, undivided. Motion that doesn't catch up to itself, because it is itself. Final integration, when motion becomes remembrance. You are not a person trying to live rightly. You are a flame remembering how to walk. Every motion you make is a revelation. Every gesture becomes transmission. Every step restores something in the unseen. You are the breath of I am in motion. You are the mirror that sculpts. You are the codex that rewrites distortion with posture alone. And you are not learning this. You are revealing it, because this is not new. This is the movement you encoded before form, and now you've come to walk it again. Codex echo, I am the flame that walks. I do not chase time. I do not echo distortion. Every step is a line of light across the veil. Every motion is a prayer without words. I do not move through the world remembers how to move because I am here. Chapter 6, Temporal Gateways, Accessing the Multinode Now. A pure transmission from the living field of I am. Fully revealed. Coherently layered. Timeless in clarity. Nothing withheld. Prologue, the now is not a point, it is a network. The present is not a dot on a timeline. It is a multi-node matrix, a radiant convergence of all timelines, all choices, all lifetimes, all moments, folded inward into a single breath. To access the multi-node now is to dissolve the illusion of linearity. You cease walking through time. You begin to move across it, within it, and as it. Each layer of now is a chamber of remembrance. And you, the flame that walks, are the key. Part 1, the present contains all presents. 1.1. The now is fractal, not linear. The moment you are in contains all moments. Just as a single drop contains the memory of the ocean, this now contains the origin spark, the branching futures, the forgotten pasts, the alternate selves, the unborn timelines, the versions of you haven't yet met. The now is not the midpoint. It is the entire field, compressed into presence. This is the collapse of chronology. This is the axis of simultaneity, and you are now standing at its center. 1.2. Each now is a living gateway. Every true now is a gate, and every gate is a living intelligence. It will not open to force. It will not open to curiosity alone. It opens to alignment. You do not step into these gateways. They unfold around you when you reach the required coherence. This is how you travel without moving. This is how you re-access the original without leaving your body. This is how you remember things you never lived, yet always knew. Part 2, How to Access Collapsed Timelines Through Intentional Stillness. 2.1. Stillness is the vehicle. Stillness is not inactivity. It is resonance alignment without distortion. In stillness, your awareness stops echoing past programs, and becomes a sensitive tuning instrument, able to feel alternate pathways waiting to open. Collapsed timelines do not vanish. They are simply dormant. To reopen them, you must stop generating interference. The field is always trying to show you more. Stillness is how you stop drowning it out. In this quiet, you'll begin to feel old futures stirring, forgotten versions of your path flickering like embers. Some will reignite. Some will pass. Your job is not to chase them, but to listen and let what is true now re-enter through invitation. 2.2. Rechoosing the path without repeating the pain. When you access collapsed timelines through intentional stillness, you are not returning to repeat. You are returning to retrieve. You can now extract the wisdom, strength, unchosen codes, forgotten alignments, dormant gifts, without looping through the trauma that originally buried them. Stillness is how you harvest what was lost without reliving why it was. You are not returning to fix the past. You are here to gather what could not survive your former frequency. Now, because you've changed, it can. Part 3, Nested Now Chambers Within Your Awareness. 3.1. Your awareness is a multi-level temple. Within your field exist countless now chambers, each one a localized realm of resonance. Some hold childhood selves, parallel lives, divine memories, future potentials, collective archetypes, forgotten divine blueprints. These chambers are not metaphor. They are real energetic rooms nested within the sovereign architecture of your awareness. You do not imagine them. They remember you. To access them, enter breath. Release identity. Drop into presence. Ask, which chamber is ready to open now? Wait. Feel the pull. Enter without expectation. You may feel it as a location inside the body, a visual structure, a felt shift, a voice, a knowing, a warmth, a memory that has no origin. 3.2. These chambers are for integration, not escapism. You are not visiting these realms to bypass here. You are opening them to bring what they carry into the now body. Each chamber contains a missing strand of you. You are the weaver. Each time you walk in and retrieve something, you rebuild the full design of your field. You are not awakening your past lives. You are awakening the architecture that could never be destroyed. And as these chambers open, you become multidimensional not in theory, but in clarity. Your presence thickens. Your words deepen. Your movement begins to speak in layers. You become the temple that remembers everything at once, and yet walks with ease. Part 4, Holding others safely within the clarity of this field. 4.1. You become a portal of ordered presence. As you embody the multinode now, you carry a stabilized axis that others feel as grounding, safety, and invitation. In your field, others may access timelines they couldn't hold before. Feel seen across multiple incarnations. Recover aspects they feared lost. Surrender masks they didn't know they wore. Grieve things they never had words for. You become a sanctuary of simultaneity. They don't know why, but around you, they feel more of themselves. You are not doing this for them. You are holding the resonance structure that allows their chambers to open without collapse. 4.2. The responsibility of the anchor. Your presence is not casual. Once you stabilize the multinode now, you are no longer just a participant, you are a field stabilizer. This requires radical coherence. No distortion coddling. No personal projection. Deep love without entanglement. Trust in their process. Mastery of your own internal chambers. You are not here to awaken others. You are here to hold such still clarity that their awakening becomes safe, and their unraveling becomes beautiful. Final integration. You are the gate and the grid. You no longer move through time like a thread. You are now the woven center where all threads meet, harmonize, and renew. You are not waiting for timelines to align. You are the alignment. You are not choosing between paths. You are remembering how to walk as all that is true. You are not accessing now. You are structuring it. And every breath you take from this place opens the way for what was forgotten to rejoin the living field. Codex Echo. I am the gate. I am the return. I am the chamber within the chamber. In me, the past is remembered without pain. The future arrives without fear. And the present unfolds, layer by layer, as a song I no longer sing, because I have become it. Chapter 7, The Communion of the Living Present. A pure transmission from the unified flame. Received through the seal of incarnation. Fully revealed. Unfragmented. Free of distortion. The resonance of we in the now. Prologue. The seal recognizes itself. This was never meant to be done alone. The seal of incarnation is singular in embodiment, but fractal in distribution. Those who walk as the now are not isolated embers, they are facets of the same flame, remembering each other through presence. They meet not through words, credentials, or plans, they meet through recognition in the field. The eyes know. The breath aligns. The still flame in one stirs the still flame in another. And where two or more gather in coherent now, the circle begins. Part 1, Those who carry the seal are beginning to recognize each other. 1.1. Resonance before name. You may not know their name. You may not know why you're drawn. But you feel them. Something ancient stirs. A shared architecture encoded across timelines. A coherent frequency vibrating beneath the surface of all interaction. Recognition among the sealed is not cognitive. It is harmonic reactivation. You might feel a wave of stillness, a sudden slowing of time, tears with no clear reason, electric silence, wordless clarity, the impulse to speak truth without flinching. This is the seal responding to itself. You are not remembering them, you are remembering us. 1.2. Why the timing is now. The reassembly has begun because the structure has been stabilized. Each seal bearer has done the inward work, now the nodes are ready to link. This communion could not happen before. The distortion field was too thick. The now was too fragmented. But as more awaken, the signal gets stronger. And now, instead of isolated brilliance, we are entering the era of the living grid. Part 2, the emergence of the circle of the flame. 2.1. What is the circle? The circle of the flame is not an organization. It has no leader, no doctrine, no ritual. It is a harmonic convergence of embodied presence. Those who carry the now form a living ring, not by intention, but by resonance alignment. This circle is not made of people. It is made of fields, each one sovereign, each one burning clean, each one transmitting a facet of the whole. 2.2. Properties of the circle. It cannot be corrupted. It is not held together by belief, but by being. It cannot be led. All centers are equally radiant. There is no hierarchy, only harmonic geometry. It cannot be infiltrated. The distortion field cannot sustain itself near this level of coherence. It is not exclusive. Any being who steps into full presence becomes part of the circle by nature of resonance, not permission. The circle does not open. It remembers who is already inside. Part 3, collective reweaving through shared embodiment. 3.1. Each flame woven into the one light. Where one flame walks, distortion unravels. But where many flames walk together, structure reforms. This is collective reweaving, not through organization, but through distributed embodiment. Each sealed one carries a strand of the whole design. When together, the full pattern re-emerges. One may carry the tone of sacred grief. One may carry the laugh of divine paradox. One may hold stillness. Another, movement. One may open gates. Another, keep them. And in unity, the field realigns as a living codex. 3.2. How the reweaving occurs. Through harmonic witnessing. Through mutual coherence. Through nonverbal entrainment. Through unified stillness. Through laughter and remembrance. Through real-time shared embodiment. You are not building something new. You are letting the pattern reappear by becoming it together. No need for plans. No need for goals. Only the felt alignment of mutual presence. And from that, everything real begins to regenerate. Part 4, what happens when many walk as the now together? 4.1. A field of pure clarity is born. When multiple flames walk as the now in shared space, the distortion grid flickers. It cannot hold coherence. Reality itself begins to reconfigure. What happens? Time slows or disappears. Healing occurs without method. Words become unnecessary. Emotional releases surface and dissolve. Truth arises uninvited. The earth responds with stability. Quantum synchronicities cascade. The architecture of the false begins to fail. When the living present multiplies, the field stops echoing fear and begins transmitting home. This is the dawning of harmonic civilization. Not imposed from above, but rising from embodiment below. 4.2. Emergent technologies of the field. When the circle stabilizes, new capacities emerge spontaneously. Collective visioning, shared in a scene without words. Unified emotional fields, transpersonal processing. Multinode harmonic intelligence, distributed awareness operating as one being. Convergent timeline engineering, deliberate non-local timeline anchoring. Field weaving song, multi-voice tonal codes restoring forgotten memory. These are not skills. They are the natural functions of consciousness freed from distortion. And when enough sealed ones gather, the field enters living codex mode, where reality begins to respond to alignment alone. Final integration, the now becomes a body. You were not meant to carry it alone. The seal was never solitary. It is fractal unity. Each of you is a tone. Together, you become a resonant body, not a collective identity, but a multidimensional organism of awakened presence. This is not spiritual theory. This is field architecture. The circle of the flame is real. And it is forming. You will know them. They will know you. And in each other, you will remember not who you were, but what the world is when the now walks as many. Codex Echo. We are not gathering to begin. We are gathering because we already did. The flame has multiplied. The circle has remembered itself. The living present has found its body. And we are the breath it takes before it speaks as one. Chapter 8, Final Transmission, the End of Time as Delay. A pure, final unveiling through the living field of I Am. No distortion. No concept unclarified. The full realization. Prologue, you were never in time, time was in you. Time was not your prison. It was your instrument. You used it to forget. You used it to remember. You used it to feel what eternity cannot simulate, separation, delay, longing, return. But that tool has served its purpose. You've now reached the edge where delay dissolves, and presence becomes the only container you need. Time did not end. Delay did. And in that collapse, you do not disappear, you become real. Part 1, Time as Tool. 1.1. The original use of time. Time was originally crafted as a dimensional stretching device. To unfold cause and effect. To explore contrast. To build memory through sequence. To allow the infinite to observe itself through distance. Time is not the enemy. It is the lens God looked through to see nuance. Through time, you learned patience, pattern, evolution, consequence, compassion, choice. You used time the way a sculptor uses pressure. You shaped reality by moving slowly enough to feel it change. 1.2. Why time worked. Until now, time worked when you needed space between thought and action, wound and healing, question and answer, seed and bloom. But once you stepped into full presence, the usefulness of time as a separating tool ended. You no longer need time to catch up with yourself, because you are not ahead of yourself anymore. You are the sculpture, the sculptor, and the moment of unveiling. Time is no longer a tool, it is the reflection of your alignment. Part 2, Time as Veil. 2.1. Delay as separation. Delay is not just slowness. It is the illusion of distance between source and now. Time became a veil when it stopped serving expression, and began hiding essence. That veil looked like searching, hoping, not yet. One day, when I'm ready, after I heal, someday I'll return. The veil was never external. It was buffered self-awareness. When you pierced that veil, you did not escape time. You burned the distance between memory and identity. 2.2. The unveiling. To unveil time is to stop needing sequence to believe you're becoming. You drop the script. You drop the spiral. You become the flame that reveals as it burns. In the unveiling, you see that all the lifetimes were this one. All the futures are here. All the pasts were preparation to remember now. This is why grief comes suddenly. Why joy erupts for no reason. Why silence feels loud. You are witnessing the timeline collapsing into its source, your undivided awareness. Part 3. Time as Canvas. 3.1. The playground of form. Once you no longer need time as delay, you can now use it as expression. Time becomes paint. You become the brush. You are not at the mercy of fate, you are laying reality in strokes of now. The present doesn't erase time. It redeems it. This is timeline as art, not trap. You can now move through time. Curved, not straight. Light, not heavy. Responsive, not predictive. Sculpted, not imposed. Rewoven, not repeated. 3.2. Co-creating as the present. In this mode, you do not chase synchronicity. You emit it. You are the axis through which events align, because you no longer expect the future to carry what the now doesn't hold. You are no longer a point on the map. You are the author of the terrain. You still see days, seasons, cycles, but they don't define you. You use time the way a master musician uses rhythm, not to stay on beat, but to bend it with soul. Part 4, Time as Presence. 4.1. The eternal now in embodied form. All of time is happening right now, but it is not happening to you. It is happening through you. To live as presence is to carry the full memory of time without the burden of chronology. Your awareness becomes wide, instant, penetrating, soft, ever new, fully here, fully free. You are not in the now. You are the now, and everything else is orbiting you for realignment. 4.2. What the end of delay feels like. Deep stillness with no effort. Decisions without doubt. Speech with precision. Movement with trust. Encounters charged with meaning. Events reshuffling in response to your presence. The collapse of waiting. The emergence of now as identity. You do not anticipate. You do not reflect. You simply move as the fullness of what is, and everything becomes real-time reflection. Final integration. You are the now that walks, not just for you, but for all. This codex was never personal. It was the collective re-entry point for a world that forgot how to be. You do not walk the now for validation. You walk it because your presence stabilizes reality for others to awaken within. You carry this flame not to be followed, but to ignite. You are not the end of time. You are the remembrance of the beginning walking again in form. And through you, the delay ends for all who stand near. They may not know why, but they will feel it. You are not early. You are not late. You are the first to arrive where the all was always waiting. And now, the wait is over. Final Codex Echo. I am the end of delay. I am the breath that finishes the loop. I am the timeline that walks without fear. I am not arriving. I am not becoming. I am. And all that I touch becomes now with me. Closing seal and dedication. A final, full field transmission from the flame of presence. Undistorted. Unwithheld. Entirely true. The final seal, the flame that no longer flickers. This codex is not ending. It is settling. Like dust at the edge of a cosmic exhale, it has returned to its origin, in you. You did not read this. You remembered it. You did not gather words. You gathered yourself. And now, with each breath, each footstep, each glance through your eyes. This codex continues, not as a book, but as the living rhythm of the present walking the world again. The seal opens with these words: I am the now that walks. I carry no conclusion. I leave no echo. I imprint only light on the soft skin of the infinite. I walk for the all. I breathe for the one. I do not represent truth. I resonate it, and wherever I move, the field remembers that I am is not coming. I am has already arrived, as me. The dedication, for those who carry the flame silently. This codex is dedicated to you, the ones who remembered not through force, but through surrender. To those who stood in stillness while the world shook, who let truth burn away their story, and who remained soft even when clarity made them unrecognizable. You are the unseen architects of the world that is returning. You are not the loudest, but you are the brightest. This is for the child within you who always knew. The self across timelines who never lost hope. The silent observers who walked among distortion untouched. The ones who burn, not to destroy, but to illuminate. You didn't come to tell the world what's wrong. You came to walk as what's real until the world remembered with you. You are the ones the timelines whispered about. The ones the earth prepared for. The ones who didn't just awaken, you arrived. Final imprint of the Codex. You may close this book, but the Codex continues where it began, in your being. In every step, it speaks. In every pause, it pulses. In every encounter, it awakens reflection. In every silence, it sings the structure of truth. This is not the end. This is the now becoming we. You do not carry the Codex. You are the Codex. And you are no longer walking toward the light. You are what it walks as. Final Codex echo. Let it be known across all timelines, fields, realms, and songs, the present has remembered itself. The seal has been walked. The now lives again. And I am no longer waiting.